The Arizona Wildcats beat the Fresno State Bulldogs. Final score: Arizona Wildcats 85 to the Fresno State Bulldogs 72. Um, what I saw was Kadeem Allen falling down there. I think it was about 3/4 way into the game, and he had that bad ankle injury that knocked him out. But it's difficult because I was commending him last week or last game against I think it was, can't remember who we played against. Oh, we played against Gonzaga, and I was commending him because he did a lot of dribble penetrations, and so it was very helpful to the team as far as pulling that victory out and firing up the team and letting the rest of the team know that we can still win this game. We just have to play a little bit harder. And so anyway, Kadeem Allen did some more dribble penetrations this game, and he was very very helpful in this game. And I think he had 5 assists tonight, which was good. But whenever there was, actually it was U of A was pretty much down the whole way for like 3/4 of the game, pretty much. But then the Arizona Wildcats went on a 9-0 run, and I think it was 79-70 at one point, and that was kind of kicked off by Kadeem Allen, was the one that kind of started that, and then I think that Trier stepped in after Kadeem Allen. I think Kadeem Allen had I think he did the drive. He drove and no, he knocked down a 3-pointer. He knocked down, I think, 2 or 3 3-pointers this game. Yeah, I think he knocked down 3 3-pointers this game. So that was really that's another nice contribution that he was making to this game. I think the Arizona Wildcats came out sluggishly a little bit in the first half, and the Arizona Wildcats got a ton of turnovers right in the first half. The first half, I think the Arizona Wildcats had 8 turnovers, so they were on their way for 16 turnovers, but they only ended up with 13 turnovers because they only had 5 more turnovers in the second half. But the Fresno State Bulldogs had, I think it was 5 turnovers in the first half. Then they had 8 turnovers in the second half. So I think Fresno State was kind of they were starting to get into foul trouble, and so they were starting to get a little bit nervous. And whenever they got nervous, then I think they were getting more turnovers, and that's one thing that got them in the end. I was also looking at who was best at defending who. Of course, you want to look at Fresno State's, I think Harris. You want to see who is best defending him. York tried. I don't know. I saw. Well, a lot of times when I saw Harris, and he had York defending on him, and he didn't York wasn't able to stop Harris, and Harris pretty much made his shots. But sometimes he didn't, and it was in the second half kind of when he didn't, whenever he was tired. But whenever Tollefson tried to defend Harrison, then that didn't really work out. And also whenever um, Parker Jackson-Cartwright tried to defend Harris, that didn't really work out either. But I did see, and I don't know, maybe this was just what I saw. You know, you see what you want to see and stuff like that. But what I did see was that Kadeem Allen was doing a pretty decent job as far as stopping Harris. I mean, it didn't look like Harris was getting his shots whenever Kadeem Allen was defending against him. Kadeem Allen and Trier are they're a good duo. Um, and I don't know how this injury is going to affect Kadeem Allen, because next we have to play against Missouri, the Missouri Tigers on Sunday. I think it was 5 o'clock or something like that. So, but this might be a good time for him to rest, you know, and not be dressed up for the game, not be suited up for the game against Missouri, and that way Kadeem Allen can spend a little bit of time healing up from his ankle. Whenever I watched the video of him getting injured, of Kadeem Allen with his injury, then I didn't really see what it was. I mean, he turned his foot in a weird position, but then at the same time he had, I don't know, I think it was 5 minutes earlier, 10 minutes earlier, he had been complaining to Tollefson about how the floor was slippery. So I don't know, whenever, because Kadeem Allen had fallen before, and whenever he fell, then he got up and he was complaining to Tollefson about his fall, but I think Tollefson kind of disregarded it. But then another fall happened to Kadeem Allen, and that one was a bad one. That I think that one was where the one that he sprained his ankle, and he couldn't really walk too much off of the court, so that's not a good sign at all. He looked like he was in pretty bad shape from that injury. But you know, we'll see how he does, how he heals up, and I don't know. He seems like he's an energetic guy, so he probably should come back pretty good. As far as people that I don't know how well they're doing with their injury is Anderson. Anderson had, I think it was 17 points tonight for the Arizona Wildcats, and he's a funny guy because he's mysterious. I mean, you don't really see where he makes all his points. You don't. I mean, it's kind of a silent. He kind of flies underneath the covering, so you don't really see what underneath the radar. So you don't really see him score. I didn't really see him score those 17 points, but he did have 5 turnovers, and that was the most turnovers of any of the Wildcats. So that's not a very good thing. But I think he had 6 rebounds. 3 of them were no 3. Ristic had 3 offensive rebounds, and I think that also I think it was Kadeem Allen. No. It was Tollefson that had 3 offensive rebounds too. So Tollefson does make a really nice contribution, and he knocked down that 3-pointer. He was 1 for 3 from 3-point land, which is not too bad. You can't complain too much about that. I had a question. I was wondering, with the point guards, maybe Parker Jackson-Cartwright or Kadeem, could they pass it into Tollefson? Or maybe Tollefson isn't good enough with his hands. I don't know. And another thing that I wanted to say is Miller kind of threw Ristic underneath the bus with the complaining about his Sesame Street behavior, not being in the right place. One of these kids is in the wrong place at doing their own thing, and not like the rest of the kids. But so Miller kind of threw him on the bus. But at the same time, then I think it's also good for Ristic because he kind of sees that he needs to step up his game a little bit more. And it's hard to work on your teamwork, and that was one of the things that you could tell that it really hurt. It was hard on Ristic because I think he was 0 for 5 from free throws. He was one of the reasons why the Arizona Wildcats only shot 60% from free throws. But I think that he's a great finisher. I think Ristic is a great finisher, and I think he had 6 rebounds altogether. So he is a major contribution to this team. It's just that part, of playing the defense. He needs to work on a little bit more. He needs to get more of a teamwork going on, I think. And they all do. 27 points contribution from Trier is fantastic. But one of the reasons, or one of the things that I saw was Kadeem Allen with that I think it was 70 to 68. So Kadeem Allen, then he knocked down a three-pointer. Then Trier knocked down I think 2 free throws or something like that. And then it was Anderson that knocked down a couple of free throws. And then I think Parker Jackson-Cartwright did a dribble penetration. He was not going to get denied, even though he's a little guy. He was running against big guys, and he still went right in there and threw up that shot, and it was a beautiful shot. But then after that, then it was Trier. So it was a contribution of four different players. So you weren't really sure where the points were coming from, and that's one of the team effort things that I think is best for these guys is if they do a team effort. And Anderson wanted to do a team effort. I think he had 3 assists or something like that. So he was doing really good. It's just they just are working on team effort. It's just going to take a little bit of time. It's going to take some time, and it's just something that they have to slowly work on, slowly progress on. But if you keep having injuries, it makes it kind of difficult. But anyway, the Arizona Wildcats beat the Fresno State Bulldogs. The Arizona Wildcats 85 to the Fresno State